I am the Big Tank.
On the battlefield of life, nothing's harder than a tank. Yeah, have you ever met a man, hearts full of love, bigger than a tank?
Big Tank.
He served in a few wars. He's a veteran that stands for a cause. For the best interviews and news, just keep it glued to the tank.
I am the tank. Big
Big
Tank.
Tank Talk.
Tank.
Big Tank Talk.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Big Tank Talk. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing to you Bluesmann. Bluesmann, welcome to Big Tank Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Without any ado, I'm going to just jump right in and ask, what first got you into music?
I grew up in a family. My mother she had 8 brothers and sisters. Every one of them was a musician. So as a little kid, I remember running through drum sets and that when there were practices going on with all the different bands. And so it's been that way my whole life. However, I never got into the music itself, but I just fell in love with it, and musicians and dreams. Yeah, so it's family.
So let me ask you, are you a songwriter as well?
Yes, I am.
That's
I'm
awesome.
right at the point, like I've got about 7 songs written, and I've just got to take them a little farther to get them. They're finished, but to get them out there. So I'm at that stage.
Well, I wish you luck as you progress with that. So let me ask you, when you're writing a song, from when you first decide, well, I want to write a song, to the actual performing of it, what's your creative process?
On original music, everything that I've written has been about a part of my life. So, it basically tells stories that happened to me that I think happened to other people out there. So I like to sit down and just reminisce and start putting it on paper, and just going from there. If we were talking about doing videos in other people's music, it's a lot longer process than it is for me to write a song. Writing a song can be rather quick, but the process for doing just one video, one song, I'll take 5 songs out of a list that I have of 60, 70 songs. And I'll take 5 songs out and I will play them until I figure out which one I think I'm playing the best. That takes some time, to get through that. Once I do that, I can play any song before you put a camera in my face, not make a mistake. Put that camera in front of my place. Every song that I finally pick out takes me a good 20 takes to make one song. So the process can be, it can be long and hard, just getting through that type. I find writing for myself a lot easier than putting things out there of other people's music. Does that make sense at all?
It absolutely does. And I have to tell you, I'm really fascinated with the process. I've interviewed several people, and everybody's process is a little different, but I find it fascinating what gets you guys from right at the start of doing something to there it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me ask you,
Yep.
I know your mom helped get you into music and having a musician family.
Yep.
What or who inspires you to make music now?
I'm going to bring that all the way to present. Had I not come on to Clapper, and this is all honesty, I made a couple of videos. I went to TikTok prior to here. I really didn't like it. I didn't like everybody that was following me. And I made a couple of songs over there. And it wasn't until Rob George came over and found me. And he said, I really he's watched me do a couple of things over there. And he really brought me over here. When I came over here and I started seeing people like me that are making videos, playing music, singing. We're not the greatest singers in the world, but we have a talent. And, and there's levels of talent. And I just felt that, I see all these people on Clapper, and that got me started, and I can't stop now. I'm inspired by the people like you or like Rooster, guys like that every day. So that's what,
Bluesman, I got to tell you, I am so inspired that I'm actually taking guitar lessons now from Rockin' Papa right through Clapper. I'm not quite to the point where I can play songs yet, but I'm working on a couple. So I'll keep you posted about that. Let
Excellent.
me ask you this. Let's do a little supposing. Suppose you got to the point where you could actually get out and do a tour, and you had the opportunity to choose who you could open for. Who would you open for? And if past or present doesn't matter, because we're just supposing here anyway.
Okay. Well, if it's big names, because that's what I always dreamed of. There's two people that I'd say that I would like to open for. My main one would be Rod Stewart, a big name. I grew up very young. The first rock group I seen was the Faces, Rod Stewart and the Faces.
Yep.
And he drew me right. I was about 12 years old, and I just decided rock. It was it. But I followed him my entire career. It's his voice. It's very different, than everybody else's. And I followed him through his whole career, and he changed so many genres and succeeded at it. So if I could have ever opened for somebody, it would be for him, just because I followed that man my whole life. You know what I mean? And his talents are something else. The other person I would love to have opened for was Marvin Gaye. That man could sing. That man had feel. So, but that would be, I'd have to say the two of them, but Rod Stewart's the guy I grew up with. And my music reflects what he does in a way that I like to do so many genres and know that at least I can do them. So
I have to tell you, I consider myself an amateur student of music. I like pretty much all genres, and I've been most of my life. I've been a fan of Marvin Gaye and Rod Stewart. Excellent selections there, and not cookie cutters. I mean, they're different. They each have their unique styles.
yeah.
So now a similar question. Now it's not who you can open, but you have an opportunity to collaborate with anyone you could choose. Who would you choose?
Rooster, Big Daddy Rooster. I'm really inspired by him. I like his voice. I like his guitar playing. I really like his music. And without him knowing it, he's introduced. Well, no, I've told him, if it wasn't for you, Rooster, I would have did this song. So I really inspired by what he does. So I'd like to get together and collaborate with him on a couple of tunes, on a few tunes. But yeah, it would have to be him. I'm not putting anybody else in there.
Oh, I can understand that. And I've had the opportunity to interview all three members of his band, Big Daddy Rooster.
Nice.
And they're all great guys. And it was a fun time for me to get to know them a little bit.
Yep.
Just like I'm enjoying getting to know you a little bit. So let me ask you, as from the time you started playing an instrument to now, I'm sure you've been given a lot of advice in the past. What would you say is the best bit of advice you've been given?
I'd have to. This advice came from my uncle at an early age. My mom's one brother, Uncle Rick. He's been on stage since I'm just throwing this in there if you don't mind. He's been on stage since he's been 13 years old. He's got to be, I'm guessing 74, 75, and he's still on stage. He's still got a beautiful voice and a full head of hair. I love that. So, but my uncle once said to me when I was younger, he said, Len, everybody has a talent and it's in everybody. And he says, I know you want to be a musician. He says, Len, you got to find that talent. What you need is passion. Well, I had passion. I just didn't know where to go with it. So he said to me, Len, because there's a talent in you, you've got passion. He says, you got to dig in your heels and you got to shoot for the goals because the passion will get you to them. And there might be roadblocks along the way, but there's always ways to get around them. And that piece of advice from young, he put a bass in my hand. He taught me my first song, which was Stand By Me. And I've never looked back. Now, I was a bass player all those years. So that's the advice was, Len, you've got passion in you. You've got a talent in you. We just got to bring it out.
I have to tell you, Bluesman, I am a fan of the bass guitar. I don't play it, but I wrote a song when I was a kid and still in the Navy. And I had a friend who played bass in the style of Stanley Clarke, if you know the name.
Mm-hmm.
And he put music to the song that I wrote.
Nice.
And I can pick out a good bass player in any group I have an ear for that. So that's pretty cool to get, to know, you got your start playing the bass. Now you play and I've seen you play acoustic guitar and you play well. Um, let's jump into the music business aspect for a little bit. Good or bad, how do you feel internet has impacted the music business?
Uh, I've been in music for not in well I've been around and through music for 6 decades. There were days in the beginning that music here, we're up here in Toronto, Canada, close to me. You couldn't get any R&B artist, rock and roll artist, unless you went across the border back in those days, and you'd see them in clubs and you'd hear them. Eventually, they started coming across the border, and that's how we started getting music. So it took a long time for an artist. Now, those were always the best artists. What about all those artists that were borderline, that were there? They never got the breaks. Okay. And as music changed along the years, radio and television, all of a sudden it's beginning there. When internet opened, you went from, you didn't have to go through a long process the way the older people did back then, trying to get out there, trying to make a nickel. As soon as the open, you can make a video at home, play one song, push one button, and the world sees it. So what's happened? The internet just, it opened doors for everybody. So all those average people back in the olden day, now we're here today, and I say we as in me, we're here today, and it opens doors for you that you could never have got open before. So that change was dramatic to me.
That is true. And it gives opportunities where opportunities didn't exist before. And I kind of like that. So having said that, if you could change anything about the music business, what would you change?
I don't know if I could, or I would, my knowledge isn't there of what goes on today in the music business, other than what I see happening now. Because the music business, there's 1,000 genres. There's not just 7 or 8. You know what I mean? There's so many different things. And so I don't know how or what I would change, because I don't know a lot about the music industry of today.
That's um, do you anticipate ever going on a tour? Have you ever thought about it?
Oh, I've thought about it. I've had opportunities in my past. I mentioned this. When I was a bass player, my uncle got me good enough really quickly. I'm going to jump on here for a second. We'd sit down and we would play a record, and we would copy that record to the T, because he always felt that, and we felt that that's a hit because of a reason. Play it that way. And so that's the way I kind of grew up. I'm losing my little train of thought here. So rethrow the question at me. I'm so sorry. I'm having a train thought because I've moved off.
I had asked you if you anticipated or thought about going on tour.
Okay, thank you. This happens as we get older. The train goes right out the window in the middle of a conversation. In that band, I played 10 years. It was every weekend almost. We were booked 10 years. And so I really enjoyed getting on stage. Now that I've left that part of the business, the blues, and I started picking up the guitar, I started doing little gigs here. I would love to get on a tour. I'm building confidence within myself, and being able to play a lot of songs. I would love to go on tour. It's been a dream. My whole life has been a dream since little, to be on a stage. And I'm 63 years old. I can still do a small tour, and I would enjoy that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this. My wife and I were talking the other day, and I said, Kelly, do you know how many nice people I've met in Texas? And I remember seeing a of Texas. What's her name? The promoter in Texas, the lady. I'm forgetting her name.
Cynthia Anderson, I think her name is.
She made a comment on there. She said, if you come down here, we'll give you a room. If you and your wife want to come down for a visit, we'll give you a room. I'll book you in a gig. And it's just the thought, that's going to be my attempt at doing something in a bit of a tour, is to take a few weeks to see what I can do. So I'm kind of looking forward to making some plans to do that. So yes, I would love to be on tour doing something.
That's awesome. Now, having asked you that, and being a little older than some of the people I interview and a lot of the people in the music business, your perspective may be different. But what do you think would be the hardest part about being on tour?
Oh, for me, because I kind of did it before in a different capacity, like I did it as a bass player, being away from family, like just being away from family. That, I did it a long time, and I mean, we all woke up one day and said, you know what, we did a great job, guys. Let's go home and start doing things for ourselves, away from for everybody else, type of thing. So, yeah, family be the hardest thing to not have. Well, I say that, but however, it's just me and my wife most cases these days, because everybody's gone and got kids, I got grandkids and all that. So I guess I could do it with her, but still, family, I'd be missing my granddaughters, my daughter, my son. That, so that'd be the hardest part, going away.
I understand simply from the perspective of being prior American Navy, and you take a cruise for 6 months. You're away from family. Now, I wasn't married when I was in the Navy, but I was away from mom and my brothers and sisters and close friends.
Yeah.
So separation is separation. So I definitely understand that. And I definitely respect it. I could imagine it would be difficult, although being in a situation where it could be you and your wife, that would probably make it a little easier for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you just a couple more questions here. If you had a message for people that are fans of Bluesman, and I am a fan, I've heard you play enough, and I really appreciate the musicianship and your ability to sing and play. I know that's not easy. For your fans, or for the people that love to hear you do what you do, what is the message that you would give to them?
Oh boy. I think I would just share the message that I shared with you earlier that my uncle gave me. Is I'd say, you know what, if you have a talent, you have a talent out there. Anybody can do what I can do. You gotta have passion, and take that passion. That's the only way I can kind of answer it, is that I don't want to talk about me and how you would do it. I would rather say, if you're good at crocheting, you know what, passion, go, make some goals. Anybody can do anything that they want. That's the way I feel. I used to say that and never mean it, but I believe it now.
I actually believe that. I wouldn't, if you'd have told me when I was a younger man that, someday when you're a little older, you're going to be interviewing people, I would have told you were crazy. But here I am, and I enjoy doing it. So from a musical standpoint, who is your hero?
Musical standpoint?
Yeah.
Well, I had a different idea of a hero.
Simply your definition of a hero.
Can I? Okay, I'm gonna go away from the music part of it if I can. My wife is my hero. My wife and I have been together 47 years, married 43 years. If she wasn't in my life, she's inspired everything that I've ever wanted to do in life. She's pushed me to do it, whether she liked it or not. She's my hero. Yeah.
I couldn't get a better answer than that. So one last question, and then there's something else I'll bring. Or no, there's two questions. When it comes to playing music and performing in front of people, what's your biggest fear?
I'm almost over it. My biggest fear in front of people was being in front of people. I did a lot of stuff when I was in the big band. That doesn't count as a fear, because I was the guy at the back. I was the bass player and I was the background singer. All the front people got all the attention, so I didn't have to worry about it. But now, when I do this, and I'll say my little gigs that I do, I get so nervous. Like I say, I can play 30 songs in a row without that camera. If you're sitting here, I'll play 30 songs and will not make a mistake. But boy, getting in front of people, that's a little different, because everybody's watching you. And I always think there's musicians out there that are going to hear my mistakes, because I get nervous. So my biggest fear is, I'm almost over it. I'm almost to the part where I'm starting to really enjoy playing and in front of people. So it's taken me a minute to get over that. I'm not quite over it, but I'm getting there. So yeah, my biggest fear is playing in front of people.
Excuse me. That is a fair answer. And the next question, again, being a bit older than a lot of musicians and performers, your perspective will be different. But what does the future hold for Bluesman?
Well, right at this point here, I'm on a path I'm pretty happy with. And again, it comes down to Clapper, but I'm on a path. I want to continue to do what I'm doing. Only I want to get better at it. I want to make better videos. I just want to continue on that path of getting better and better, and having fans, saying, "Hey, that's pretty cool." Right now, my videos and all that are sitting and playing guitar. I watch and I learn. So I just got to figure out things. When I see some really cool videos be made, I said, I got to do that one day. So my path right now is I'm quite happy. I just want to continue on this path, get better at it, have some better equipment, and just continually do this. And that's all I need for enjoyment.
Well, that is certainly reasonable. That pretty much wraps up the questions that I have. But what I want to do now is I want to offer you the opportunity that I've offered some other people that I've interviewed, and that is the opportunity for you to do a shout out. It can be for music you've done. It can be for somebody in your life. What you shout out is entirely up to you, but I'm giving you that opportunity now.
I'm you would not believe how tied I am into Clapper. I love the people on this. And so my shout outs are to the people that inspire me. And I'm going to give you a couple. I'm going to say Dog Lady. She makes me smile with every video. I did one clap back if I could do 20. Of course, Rooster. I love his music. I love to do a clap back. I love the local artists that are on this program in George's thing. That if I could shout out, these are the type of people I want to listen to. Not just music, but people that make me smile, people that make me sad. I just love the whole idea of it. So, yeah. Sounds
like a pretty good shout out for Clapper itself too.
Yeah, it's a very good one. I'm really impressed since I've come here, and it's helped me in my personal life. Music get me back into this and get me doing things that I don't normally do. And my wife's upstairs just loving it. So it all works out.
Well, Bluesman, I got to tell you, it's really been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit. I'm honored to call you friend, and I'm glad I met you on Clapper, and I'll shout out Clapper as well, because I've made a lot of really good friends and met some really phenomenal people there. And I wanted to thank you for taking the time to answer my questions and helping me to show you to my audience.
Thank you for bringing me on. This is, believe it or not, this is all part of my dreams musically. It's just doing an interview like this, you know what? It's taken me, it's lifted my spirits.
Well, I'm happy to have been a part of lifting your spirits. Now, my friends, if you feel like there were questions I should have asked Bluesman, but I didn't, please put them in the comments. I read all comments. I'm quite sure if it's a question that you'd like to hear Bluesman answer, that if he sees in the comment, he'll give you an answer for it.
Yep.
In the meantime, like this interview, and please, by all means, subscribe, because I've got entertaining people coming all the time. So just got great stuff ahead. Bluesman, I appreciate you being here, brother, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
And I appreciate this, and you are my friend, sir. So you too. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.